Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your co-host, Kevin, K-Daddy from Dirty South, the ATL, Hotlanta, Georgia. I'm a post-production master, filmmaker, and horror nerd.
Hey guys, this is your co-host Ashley, Gorilla Girl filmmaker, lunar goddess, and cinephile.
And I'm your co-host, John Thomas, ghost hunter, super smartass, and film lover extraordinaire.
What's up, ghouls, gals, unicorns, meta pals, and today, Potterheads. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the magical world of Harry Potter. The books, the movies, and maybe some things you didn't know about this magical world. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Cinematic, captivating, terrifying, and intense. Trap 2021 will return live May 21st through the 23rd. New categories, new prizes, and still no entry fee. Visit trapfilmfestival.com for more information.
Welcome back, and I am so pumped because I am a Potterhead, and are you guys ready to talk about some Potter?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
I love Harry Potter. You know me. I love Harry Potter.
I am a Potter fanatic. I mean, I was a kid when it came out, so I'm right there with you, Ash.
You're a kid now.
Face is a kid. I mean, I have a Harry Potter plaque up on my wall right here. I know you can't see me, but I'm pointing at it.
We definitely have a lot of Harry Potter stuff in our house. We have wands and obviously the movies, the books. We've actually been collecting the new art release books that have been coming out over the past few years. So it's the books, I think they've only done 3 at this point, maybe 4. They've done 4. They came out with the story, but it's done in just a very large size book with beautiful art and graphics. And the pages themselves have these beautiful textures and backgrounds to them that are just, it's amazing. It's an artistic experience. And so we've actually been reading those in our house as a family, and the artwork is amazing.
Is it the full book, or is it like an abbreviated, abridged version of it?
Nope, it's the full book.
Oh.
So these things are thick. They are really big. That's what she said.
She beat me to it.
Need you to step up, John. We need you to come quicker.
That's not what she said. That's not what she said. Now, come on.
So if you know somebody who is a Potterhead in your life, that is a wonderful gift to send somebody. They have a box set that you can send with a little box that it comes in that's also illustrated.
I'm going to have to look into those.
Did you know that you can also, on Amazon one year, I got Lila an official Hogwarts letter.
Yeah, the acceptance letter.
Yeah, I got her one for Christmas one year.
Let's talk about the books first.
Do you have a favorite book, either of you?
Honestly, I think Goblet of Fire was my favorite.
Let's be honest. Have you read all of the books, each of you?
I have all of them except for The Cursed Child. I don't have that one. I didn't read that one. That's a whole other thing. But I do have the original. Yeah, I do have the original. Well, I mean, it should, but
I don't think it does. Have you read it?
No.
Read it before you say it should count. Sorry, just gonna put that out there. I'll be that controversial Potterhead.
I think we don't have a fan there of the last one.
For me, it's been a while, but I have read all the books. I mean, like I said, I was 7 when the first one came out, 7 or 8.
Oh my God!
And so that was literally one of the books that I don't want to say learned reading on, but that was one of the first bigger books that I had grown into.
When the Harry Potter series came out, I was super emo when it came to books. So if it was trendy, I wanted nothing to do with it. And I mean, we saw what happened with the Twilight series, and it was super popular. And I'm like, this is trash. And so Harry Potter, exploded, was a big deal. People were waiting in line and, at midnight at Barnes and Noble to get their copy of the next release. And I was just like, oh man, I'm too cool for that. Like, no way. If it's that trendy, nope, it's probably junk. I know that's very like snobby of me, but my brother was super into it, and he had all of the books, and he was all amped up to go wait at midnight for the next release of whichever one was coming out. I can't even remember which one it was at this point. And I remember just thinking, what the heck, man? Like, this is just you too, A2 Brutus. Like, you were supposed to be cool, and you're reading like the Harry Potter. I thought I knew you, but I don't know you.
You're reading a kid's book.
How could you read that junk? And I know, like, it's not junk now, but in my head. But back then, I had such an issue. And he, my brother's pretty direct and pretty, like, he doesn't put up with me. So he's just like, you need to shut up and read it, or just shut up. And I'm like, okay. So I was bored one night because I have insomnia, as you guys know, and it's like midnight, and I can tell it's going to be a 4 a.m. kind of night. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab his book. I'm going to grab book one and see what he has to say, and then I can laugh at him in the morning when he wakes up and be like, I told you it was junk. So like 5 a.m. hits. I'm wrapping up this book. And
that's awesome.
And I'm thinking, where's book 2? Now, I was lucky because by the time I got into it, I think it was like 5 or 6 books in. And so I could binge read. I could power through them. So for the next like 2 weeks, every chance I got, I was reading the Harry Potter books. And my brother didn't even realize I was like taking his books and reading them because his room was like a mess. And I read all of these books. And of course, because he's willing to be there at midnight when Deathly Hallows came out, I remember being just like, so you're going to go pick up the last one, right? And I think there was even like the 6th one maybe where he's just, it's going to come out. And I'm like, so you're going to go get that, right? He's like, why do you care? And I'm like, no, but like, I have to know. Are you going to go get that at midnight? Like, I really need to know. This is important. And he knew I was hooked. So he gave me so much shit.
Jeez. I was actually given, I think, the first 3 for my birthday by a coworker. I was working at this really shitty job, and we had decent sized breaks and everything. And he's like, hey, have you read these books? And I'm like, it doesn't interest me. He's like, no, seriously, I think you should check it out anyway. And so he like surprised me and gave me these books for my birthday. And I was like, all right, I'll read it. Whatever, it was a gift. I'll be nice. I wasn't as hooked through the first one. I think the second one finally got me in there. But yeah, it was like, holy crap, I actually enjoy these. Like, wow, not exactly children's books, but close enough.
I think for me, we've read as readers so many series that you kind of know in the first book. Like the first book is always going to be a little bit more of the rough one because that's where they're establishing their world. They're building their characters. The author themselves are developing their tone for that world. They're just getting acclimated with those characters, even if they've had them in their head for a really long time. This is the first like book that they're putting together, fleshing them out and letting them come alive. So for me, I've never read a first book of a series where it's like, whoa, this is better than the rest. It's usually the jumping off point. And so for me, when I read book 1, I wasn't like blown away in terms of this is the best book in the whole wide world, but it had promise. Like every concept that she was introducing and this world that she was creating, it was just like, holy moly. This could be something really special. Like this whole, his parents were killed. Like, whoa, bang, you came out the door swinging. Like it was, you're opening a children's book with mom and dad got killed and he's being left with these abusive family members and locked under a staircase. And it's just like, okay, I'm paying attention. You got my attention. And magic.
And magic. But is there one book that stuck out to you, Ashley?
You know me, I love the darker side of things because I love to see how people grow. You see the best character growth in times of extreme strife. So for me, I loved the Deathly Hallows the best.
Oh, yeah.
I know, like I go full dark, but even with the movies, those are my 2 favorite ones. And I will say even like with the books and the movies, when we get to like Order of the Phoenix and on is when I'm really like just, I am about it. I feel like I'm leaning forward in my seat because it really took a different tone change. Sorcerer's Stone, the Chamber of Secrets. Stuff is still always happy ending and mostly tied up neatly until you start to get Order of the Phoenix. When they take out Sirius Black, oh, spoiler alert.
At this point, I think it's fair game.
I think so too, but I just want to say that when they take out his safe character, and we've discussed this before, when you take out the safe character, it puts your protagonist in a position where they go on the hero's journey and they get like super character growth. So when they took his safe character out of Sirius Black, like boom, shit got dark because someone actually died that was a good person. And and these are kids' books. These are young adult books. And it just jumped off from there. And oh my gosh, love it.
See, and for me, like for very similar reasons, that's why I like Prisoner of Azkaban, the third one, so much. Is because for me, that's where the shift started to come into play. And there was so many metaphors within Prisoner of Azkaban for like mental health and mental awareness. And that one, the good guys didn't win. They kind of did, but Voldemort came back in that one. The Dementors, they are such a visual representation of depression because people can see it, but only the person that the Dementor is, for lack of better words, leeching to can actually feel the repercussions of it and feel the effects of it. And like I loved so much how deep it went into that and how it was through the Patronus and through this
your inner light,
or not necessarily even the inner light, but just like this support, because like the Patronus for Harry was the doe, which was his mother. And it's like this connection that you have with people that can mean something to you, even if you don't necessarily know them fully. Like Harry didn't really know his mom, but had such a strong connection to her that she was his Patronus. And so it's like you're able to fight and beat these demons or Dementors through these connections and strong support that you have with yourself, with others, with things that can mean something to you.
Yeah, I think that was just for Harry though.
Sure.
Because I think it's just like in terms of the Patronus, that literally is a representation of your inner light.
Yeah.
While his reflected his mother's, you have Snape's whose reflects like his unhealthy attachment to Harry's mom. And I wouldn't necessarily want to put his unhealthy obsession with Harry's mom as his ability to chase away depression, Dementors as a representation of depression. So I might be cautious of using that connection. While that did serve for Harry, I think in general it is beautiful though that she created, J.K. Rowling created the Dementors to be symbolistic of depression, but then also have the answer for that as this inner pure light that everybody has. I thought that was pretty amazing.
What one person's inner light can be, like what you said with Harry, like for him it was his mother, and it could be totally different from somebody else's personal life. Like everybody is so different that however it manifests, just like what the Patronus manifests as, it's different for everybody. And now I got to ask, do you guys know what your Patronus is?
A wild rabbit. How fitting is that?
Wild rabbit? Oh, that's cool.
Mine is a snake.
John.
I know, right?
You're a snake.
Sneaky little snake. Yep, that's me.
Sneaky little snake.
Yes, it's a grass snake. That's what it is.
What about yours, Kevin?
West Highland Terrier, which is fitting because I feel like I say this every podcast, but I love dogs.
Kevin's a dog.
What? Oof. Kevin loves dogs?
What?
Who knew?
Which house are you in, Kevin?
I am a Ravenclaw.
He is lying. He's a Hufflepuff.
I am not a puff.
He's totally a puff.
Nope. I am a Ravenclaw, but I hang out in the Slytherin common room.
I won't let you in there because I'm a Slytherin, so you stay out, Puff.
Yeah, I'm a Slytherin.
That's why we're so close, Ash.
Welcome to the dark side, baby.
I love it here.
We have pie.
Yes, we don't have cookies. We have pie.
What kind of pie?
Any kind you want.
3.14.
All right. Ashley comes to the bat with the dad joke of the day.
Yay.
I mean, it is still early, so there is a running still for bad joke of the day, so we're good.
Bring it on.
So would you say your favorite book is also your favorite film done?
For me, it's the same. Like for me, it's Prisoner of Azkaban, because I feel like that's when like the movies shifted from upbeat kid movie to really deep, really dark, just full of layers. I'm not saying that the first two didn't have layers and didn't have theme and didn't have impact, but I feel like there was more severity and more truth come the third one.
I mean, they were gateway books. The seventh book was my favorite. I know they split it into two films because there was just so much content to try and fit in, and it was all important. So I will treat them both as the same, and I would say that both the last two films were also my favorites.
Very nice. Yeah, I liked Goblet of Fire just because not the very opening sequence with Voldemort and everybody, but when Harry Potter and everybody, they're going to the port key, just the way that they shot that was just awesome. I love the whole scene when they're walking up the hill, they get to the boot, and Harry's like, "Why are we standing on an old dirty boot? What the hell's going on?" Just the cinematography of that whole scene, and then when they get to the
tournament.
Yeah, the tournament is just awesome looking. I mean, I know it's a lot of special effects, but it was still pretty sweet looking to me. And that kind of just like drew me in a little bit more.
I thought that whole entire opening sequence was pretty phenomenal, including when they're at the tournament and they're singing and they're teasing Ron because, he's swooning over like the Quidditch player. And so it's Crom, right? He's swooning over Crom.
Yes.
And it's like they're singing little love ballads to him and just that joy. They were able to capture so much joy and camaraderie in that I find myself, even now when I watch that film and those specific scenes, I find myself kind of grinning with them because it's just fun.
Yes.
And I feel like at that point, in terms of like when they were filming, like they had grown such a close friendship offset that I feel like by that point, like I feel like a lot of that hazing was a legit hazing. and just fun and playfulness between them all.
Let's talk about the cast a bit. How did you feel about the cast? Like when you read the books, because obviously we read it before the movies came out. So did you feel that each character was correctly cast based on what you read and the descriptions provided and just like what your imagination came up with?
I did. At this point, it's hard for me to go back to like what my imagination had created when I was reading them before the movies, because I feel like that whole series was just so perfectly cast. Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter. Rupert Grint is Ron Weasley. And Emma Watson is Hermione Granger.
Oh my gosh, she is.
I could not think of anybody to replace them. Whatever imagination or imaginative version of them that I had thought about prior to the movies, I'm happy that it's been replaced with who was in the movies.
I will say an unsung hero, and not a hero in the films, but someone who did their job so well that I think I hated them more in the movies than I could have ever fathomed. I loathed and still love to hate Imelda Staunton as Dolores Umbridge.
Yes.
Oh.
Like, holy moly.
Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined somebody that awful. And I mean that in the best way. Like she delivered that so well.
Agreed.
Definitely agree. I wanted to smack that bitch upside the head so many times.
Like I still clap and get happy when Fred and George fireworks in the Great Hall as they're taking their owls and all of her little, proclamations come crashing down around her as they just, exit out of school. And it's like their huge exit. And I love it. And I think, is it Flitwick? Where he's like doing his little happy dance. Like he's like,
Yep.
secret, yes. And I loved it. And because she made that character so repulsive and awful, that made that scene that much more impactful. Like you're literally cheering because everybody's like, yes, I wish those proclamations would hit her in the head.
I would be scared to meet her in person in real life just because of how well she delivered that role. Like she could be the sweetest person in the world, but it's like, I don't know if I can separate her from that character anymore.
No, I thought they did an amazing job casting for sure. Hagrid was one of my actual favorites. Like it was hard for me to imagine him as well as they actually did. And for the fact that he is a normal short guy, like regular sized, and obviously making, but holy
Robbie Coltrane.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Ah.
good old Hagrid.
But did you know when they were casting for this, there was a rule in place that it was a British only casting?
Oh.
I didn't know that because I have a whole other thing.
One of the rules was that all the main actors had to be British. That's actually the only British rule. Was so important. They actually turned away Robin Williams.
Oh wow,
He wanted to play Hagrid.
I love the man, but
And
I don't think that would have
No.
been.
That
no.
wouldn't have been his fit, but he wanted to play Hagrid. He actually approached them. He called Chris Columbus.
Oh.
They said no. And they also said that if they're going to say no to Robin Williams, then that will be a no for anybody else who approaches them. Because how do you say no to Robin Williams?
Well, when Spielberg was attached to the movie at first, he wanted Mr. Sixth Sense Haley Joel Osment to be freaking Harry Potter. Can you imagine how weird that'd be?
He'd see ghosts. Oh, wait, Harry Potter does see ghosts.
Harry Potter does see ghosts.
He sees dead people.
Sees
But
nearly headless dead people.
not only Haley Joel Osment, but little Mr. Jerry Maguire, the human head weighs 8 pounds. Jonathan Lipnicki wanted to play Harry Potter as well.
No.
I wouldn't have
Yes.
seen that.
Yeah.
Would not have.
That would not have been. No, sorry.
Hashtag not my Harry.
Yeah.
Not my Harry.
I mean, they were really specific on casting Harry, especially. I think they had everybody else cast before they cast Harry. He needed a specific type of eye color, specific hair color, and they were really like particular about it, which paid off. Like you look at Daniel Radcliffe and like that is Harry Potter. He may not be completely fond of that, presently, but that is Harry Potter.
I have to ask, have you guys seen the video of the rehearsals where little Emma Watson, as they're rehearsing the scene, she's actually mouthing everybody else's lines, waiting.
So she's totally Hermione.
Waiting for her to get to her line.
My turn. They really wanted Daniel Radcliffe based on something that they had seen, like a BBC version of David Copperfield, but he actually took himself out of the running early on. He didn't want to be Harry Potter. He actually didn't want to be an actor anymore.
Oh, wow.
He just didn't want to. And they're like, no, that's Harry Potter. He's the chosen child. Like he is. That's him. Want to talk about creepy stalker? Say this with love. One of the producers, David Heyman, went to the theater that he knew Daniel Radcliffe's father was going to be at. I think Daniel was there as well at this theater and approached them. And he just like basically did the whole, why don't you come in and audition? Think about it, okay? Just think about it. And this kid's like, I don't already want to be an actor anymore. And now I have a stalker.
You can say yes. You can say yes. You can say yes. You can say yes. Yes, I'll do it. Fine.
Dumbledore, like he didn't even want to be Dumbledore, right? It wasn't like they had approached him and then because he didn't want to do the Harry Potter film series, but it wasn't until his grandchildren found out that they wanted him for Harry Potter that they were just like, no, oh my God, you have to do Harry Potter. Like you need to do Harry Potter. And so he actually took the job just because his grandkids wanted him to do it so badly.
Yeah, you're talking Richard Harris, right? Like
good
from
old
the first
I think so, yeah.
Yep. He actually has, from the first movie, one of my favorite quotes. And it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but it takes a great deal more to stand up to your friends. I love that because it's like standing up to your enemies is so hard, but it's such an important part of life. Standing up to your friends is just
that much harder.
Oh.
And there's a lot of really good quotes in these books. Like they carry a lot of great themes and messages towards kids.
Oh God, yeah.
So I think it has had a lot of impact, even on people that weren't around when they were first released. It has stayed true to the test of time. And even now kids read it and they take away such positive messages from the books and the films. I think the books are important because the films had to choose what was included and what was not. I mean, you only get so much time to show a film. I know people get irritated. Well, that wasn't in the book. Well, this was in the book. It wasn't in the film. And it's like, well, man, you only get 90 minutes to try and put all of this into one thing.
Right.
Try and be a screenwriter for a day. But it's just like, I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, I think there's sometimes a disconnect where people don't realize, like, you really do only get 90 minutes. They can't make a 4-hour film. It's just not a thing. And I mean, I was so happy when they split the last book into 2 films, because I was thinking, how the heck are they gonna pull that off? But when they said we're going to release it in 2, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I know they're still gonna have to choose some stuff to be omitted, but oh my gosh, thank goodness.
Well, going back to like scenes and stuff that were cut, and going back to Peeves, I mean, that part was cast and filmed. Christopher Columbus, he basically just cut it because he didn't like the look of the ghost. And so when the actor who played Peeves, he was paid for his time filming and all that good stuff. But when Sorcerer's Stone came out, he took his kids to see the movie. He didn't tell them that his part was cut. So they're watching the movie, and then towards, at the end when they're leaving, they're like, you did so good. Your part was so great. You didn't even look like yourself. They thought he was playing Hagrid. And he didn't even tell them. So it was just great.
That's awesome. He didn't even correct it. He's like, yes,
Hilarious.
I did. You're welcome. You are welcome. I am an amazing hacker.
Right.
I do like that out of the things that they could have chosen to omit, they did really choose to highlight Neville Longbottom's growth.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That scene in Deathly Hallows when he goes after Nagiri. Oh, I mean, I love snakes, but ooh, what a scene. And like, you go back to film 1 and you see him shaking and where's Trevor? And then he's like slice and dicing, like karate chopping through midair Nagini at the end. And it's just like, wow, what a growth.
Yes.
He became one of my favorite characters throughout the whole series.
Same, so much same.
I related to him so much. I'm going full film school on you guys, and I apologize, but can we touch on like symbolism and metaphors? There's so much depth to the whole world. Platform 9 3/4. Like, where is platform 9 3/4? Or how do you get there?
Through the wall.
Through the wall. But it's literally in plain sight, right?
You have to literally run at a wall and trust.
Yes. And the magic can be in plain sight. You just have to have trust in it and go for it. Just put all of your faith into something. And it's like, yes, in the book, it takes you straight to a train platform. But there's so much power to that, where it's like in your everyday life, there could be some magic there. And it's just, you have to be able to see it. You have to be able to know it's there and go for it.
I agree with you, but I'm not running full force to a wall. Sorry.
Do it, John. Do it.
I have enough brain damage. I don't need to add to it.
In that same vein of symbolism and metaphor, but also a theme that she introduced and kind of kept running throughout the films. It was so subtly done, but it was incredibly beautiful. And that was through Arthur Weasley. Because everybody focuses on, ooh, I want magic, and ooh, I want this. And magic is this amazing world. And like you said, this unseen world that's just there. You just need to notice it. But Arthur Weasley, he loved the muggles, the non-magic, and what most would consider the mundane. He saw the beauty and the fascination in things that were considered typical and regular, like this idea of driving a car or the rubber chicken. And it's just like, and he was so happy about it. That brought him joy. So taking it even further, this idea that magic has to be something elaborate and floating and, illustrious and all these things, grandeur. But then you have someone who is magical and capable of so much, who is like, wow, that rubber chicken is so fascinating.
It just shows that like everything is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
As Muggle, we're like, oh my God, magic. And like you said with him, oh, rubber chicken. It's like
magic. It was beautiful.
It's like magic and beauty can be in everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I loved a lot about Arthur Weasley, is he completely personified this idea of just pure appreciation for the world around you. And even when his kids get in trouble for taking the flying car out to, bust out Harry Potter, he gets there and, he's supposed to be getting on to them. And instead he's like, how was it?
Yeah.
That must have been so fun. I mean, you're in trouble. And it's just, I love him. I love his character.
You're in trouble. We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Right? I wish my dad was like that. Jeez.
Yeah, he just sees the beauty and the excitement and joy. He sees joy.
Yes.
in life around him. And that, I think, was a beautiful thing for her to have. And I know she originally toyed with the idea of killing him off.
Yes.
She was trying to figure out which one of Harry's safe characters who would be the iconic in making him go through that hero's journey, but also who would have the most impact. And what's interesting is she originally was going to choose him, and she realized she could not take him out.
Right.
He mattered too much to like the Potter universe. He had to stay alive. And I love that, because as much as I was like just super upset that Sirius Black was killed, I would have been destroyed if she killed the one character that can see joy in everything. I would have been just like, I'm done, throwing the book out the window, burning the books, whatever. My brother's books.
Right.
I'm really glad that Harry and Hermione did not go there. I am super glad that she didn't go for that obvious choice that people would have wanted.
Mhm.
As much as I'm still to this day not 100% convinced on Harry and Jenny. Like, it just still doesn't click for me. They didn't build it well enough for it to be believable, in my opinion.
In the books, I think they did more so than obviously the movies. Still not as much.
Even then, like, he didn't show any interest in her. And maybe that's how it works. Your friend doesn't notice your kid sister until your kid sister's like, bam, I'm banging. I don't know, but
I mean, she was kind of young, so
I mean, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah.
I just am glad they didn't go for the obvious Hermione and Harry. I do love that they went for Hermione and Ron, because they do have that contention and that love-hate kind of back and forth, which makes for super awesome passion.
Right.
I would have loved Harry and Draco.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, they have that same passionate love-hate.
Yeah.
That same wavelength as Hermione and Ron, and I would have loved Harry and Draco. Not gonna lie, their tension, especially in the movies, holy moly! I was like, just kiss already, damn.
I can do that.
I think you were the only one thinking that. Like, well, okay, maybe Kevin too, apparently. But
Really, go ahead and look up Harry and Draco
I'd rather
fanfic
not.
out there. I'm not the only one who caught that.
What would the relationship name be? Drakey?
Drakey.
Harco, I don't know.
Hairco.
Harco?
Harco. We have Malfoy and Potter. Matter. They
Potter.
matter.
They met. Oh.
They matter.
Aw.
Hashtag matter.
Patter.
Hashtag they matter. Realistically, and I have discussed this with other people, that like their obsession with each other goes so much beyond of what would be normal between enemies and bullies. Like the way, especially in the movies, and I don't know if they did this on accident, but the way that they obsess on each other and are constantly just staring at each other, and like Draco's really gets his feelings hurt when Harry like rejects him and continuously turns him down and doesn't get his attention. It shows. And as they get older, like they're constantly driven towards each other. And I know it's like, well, you know, Draco was supposed to kill Harry, and it's like, yeah, but before that, like that line, that level of hate was borderline passion there.
Draco's part of his hate, I think, was from his father too, hating the whole, I don't know. I think that was some of it there.
I feel like watching Draco's story, like through the end when he went to kill Dumbledore. Spoilers. And like his
A little late for that.
his hesitation for it. Like I don't think, or I feel like Draco's hatred and anger, I do feel like a lot of that did stem from his father, but I don't feel like it was his full anger and hatred. Like it was more of like a house upbringing taught.
Right.
Like to a degree. Like there's probably, you know, definitely a lot more to it. Just with his hesitation to kill Dumbledore, and like, again, touching on what you were saying, Ashley, with like his strong, almost passion-like connection to Harry, be it romantic or be it however else, I feel like there was a lot more to Draco than just the antagonist, bully, hot-headed
asshole.
It's highlighted though between like his two lackeys, the difference between his two lackeys and himself. They carry just hatred and like that bully snarky-ishness, and he doesn't. If you watch like the pain in his eyes and the struggle that the actor, that was a great actor, by the way, that was cast for that. What was it, Tom Felton?
Yes.
He like was able to emote so much. Like people do not give Draco Malfoy the credit that he should receive for the arc that was given to him. He did not want to kill Dumbledore. He was forced into that binding promise to Voldemort. He didn't want to kill him. He hesitated. Snape had to do it for him because he didn't want to. The anger and hatred that he carries for Harry, I don't feel his hatred.
Yeah.
Like, just the way he's constantly, like, when they're fighting in that bathroom scene and they're just like fucking each other up, bloody, glass everywhere, water everywhere. The look on both of their faces is just like, where does this come from? This is so beyond bullying. Because you see what the regular bullying is like with his two lackeys, like what they do. And even when the place sets on fire and he sets the room of requirements. No,
Yes.
that
that's it.
entire room gets set on fire and he saves him. I'm just saying, there's so many layers that could be pulled back. And I really think maybe that's something we should go over at some point. Watch the films and just watch their interactions, because I watched it through all the films and I'm like, that's just too much hate for what they say is the reason. Like, he's jealous. That's not jealousy. He's a bully. That's not typical bullying. There's something else there. And maybe it was incidental, but I'm not so sure.
And a little call out to our audience listening. If you want us to do an exclusive episode on Harry's and Draco's character dynamics towards each other, like if you want us to do an exclusive episode on that, let us know on our social media.
Yeah. Because even his family walked away at the end when it was choose to stand with Voldemort. And Narcissa took him because she cares more about her family and her son than anything else. Get him, mama. Like, get your boy and get out of there. You see that even then. Like, he had so many opportunities, I feel like, to take down Harry, and he didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was just like a random tangent.
No, that was good.
That was definitely good. Something I never really thought of.
Something else I read. So there was some other development there that wasn't shown in the films that people forget about with Harry and Draco, because Draco also didn't rat Harry out when Harry and the other two were caught by the Snatchers, and they asked if that was Harry. Draco intentionally said that was not Harry, even though he knew it was. So he had opportunities, if it was truly hatred, to rat him out, and he didn't. And he also gave Harry his wand at the battle at Hogwarts to fight Voldemort. So I'm just saying.
She is just really trying to like ship this thing, isn't she? Just like
It's just something I noticed that was an underlying undertone. And, you know, people can say, well, that's not what J.K. Rowling does. But it's like, I mean, come on. We can look at Fantastic Beasts and see that she's developing Albus Dumbledore's past with Grindelwald.
Right,
and so it's like, is it really that far-fetched to think that maybe there was some kind of underlying tone between them? Even if it wasn't romantic, there was a strong connection. And we oftentimes see that with people that have that intensely strong of a hate. There's something else. You know what I mean? There is something else there, because what did they say? Love and hate are the same. They're born of the same thing, which is passion.
It's the two faces of a coin.
Yes, there you go. Thank you. That's what I meant. They're two faces of the same coin. I think he always had a hard time with Harry, but he definitely helped him towards the end, and he had opportunities to take him out while still keeping his hands clean. Did you have a villain that you really liked?
I love Bellatrix.
Helena Bonham Carter is great too.
Oh, she
Great
nailed
actress.
it. It's so
She's
awesome. She
so
nailed it.
good.
I had heard at some point, I don't know what the validity of this is, and if somebody wants to fact check this, like, please do. But like, I had heard that the scene where Hermione uses the Polyjuice potion to become Bellatrix to get into Gringotts, Emma Watson had acted out the scene first. Helena Bonham Carter watched Emma Watson to get her characteristics of how Hermione would be portraying that scene. So she would then be able to incorporate Hermione's subtle body movements into her performance when she was acting as Hermione being Bellatrix.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean,
I love that.
She was amazing. I feel like she was the only true Voldemort follower. She did not back down, even to the very end, and she like truly loved him in her own twisted Bellatrix way. Like, she did anything for that man. She went to Azkaban. She followed him every step of the way without question. Like, others ran as things got heated, or they were afraid of being caught, and others turned their back. Like, even before Harry Potter opens up, right, we have all of these Death Eaters that are in Azkaban, because most of the people had renounced him and said, oh, I was under a spell, I didn't mean to, like Lucius and his family. And You have Bellatrix, who's like, oh man, he's the greatest in the world. That's right, I did it. Sure did.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. Yup. She was a true ride or die chick.
Yeah.
It's true. Everybody else, like as far as it goes, you know, you have the Death Eaters who hid behind the masks. She did not.
It's true. You never see.
Yeah. They wear the hoods and they arrive with the masks on, and he makes them take off their masks. She not once wears a mask.
She don't give a fuck.
She is openly about her man.
That is awesome. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yep. She doesn't hide. She was the only one, in my opinion, the only Death Eater and the only follower who was truly his follower and who actually had balls.
Definitely.
Who's your favorite villain, Ash?
Lucius Malfoy.
I think he's too much of a bitch. I don't know.
That's awful. He was.
I'm sorry.
He was a complex character, just like anybody else. Takes an interesting bitch to try and kill children, and he attempted it. He was actually, what's interesting is not only did he attempt it in a subtle way, he actually was going to outwardly do it. The end of Chamber of Secrets, when Harry gives Dobby a sock, he actually goes to say Avada Kedavra to Harry.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He was going to take him out right there at Hogwarts outside of Dumbledore's office.
Which is still a bitch move.
I don't know if that sounds
opinion.
like a bitch to me.
It's still a bitch move. I mean,
he's like, I'm just going to handle this now.
That's a dick move.
Not a bitch, but a dick, sure.
All right, whatever.
Well, nobody else was willing to. Come on, let's be real. If all these people wanted Harry dead for Voldemort, how easy it would have been just to be like Avada Kedavra.
Right.
And nobody fucking did it except for Bellatrix. And then, you know, his uncle took it for him. But it's like, but again, that only proves my ride or die point. She's like, you're annoying me, Avada Kedavra. She's just slaying that around like no problem. And it's, you know, same with Lucius. He got pissed. It was about like, you know, about to Avada Kedavra him. And it's like, oh my gosh, right at Hogwarts. Right in the middle of the day. And then Dobby took him out. I love Dobby.
Oh,
Dobby is amazing.
I cried with Dobby.
Yes.
Dobby is free. Oh. I was sobbing. No, Dobby, no. So I met Jason Isaacs a few years ago. I was working one of the Comic-Cons and I had the pleasure of being able to, you know, have a few drinks because we have a mutual friend. Super amazing person, super kind person. I'm not going to pretend to be his best friend. Just random happenstance that I was lucky to be able to be a part of because he's a very nice person. But because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, like I didn't fangirl out, but I did have to say in the middle of the evening, it just couldn't contain it anymore. Like, I couldn't hold it in. I felt like I had been holding like an energetic hand over my mouth the entire time. And it just came out. You kicked Dobby. And he's like, what did you say?
You kicked a computer animated thing.
You kicked Dobby. And I told him that'll be the first and last thing I say about Harry Potter this evening, but I had to say it. You kicked Dobby, motherfucker.
Oh, geez.
Don't care that you were going to Avada Kedavra Harry. You kicked Dobby,
You kicked
asshole.
Dobby. That's the worst crime ever.
Yes, absolutely.
Kill the boy who lived. I don't care. Just don't hurt the elf.
Don't ever kick Dobby. I actually got to meet, well, Lila and I both at Comic-Con got to meet Fred and George, the actors that play the twins, which was amazing. They're so nice and great.
Yeah, I've worked a few shows with them there. They don't look the same in person.
A little bit. Like there's definitely some differences.
They've just gotten older and the Weasley red hair isn't there.
Yes.
But it's just...
Yes.
So I have a question for you guys. What would be one of your Horcruxes?
Oh gosh, I would not split my soul.
If you did.
So if I killed somebody to split my soul, okay.
Yeah, if you did.
God, probably something like really indestructible or damn near close to that I could hide. Like I would get a very, very strong granite rock and like bury it in the ocean. I don't Well, I guess I'd have to have it to come back. So I'd probably want it somewhere a little bit more accessible.
That makes sense.
A lake. Yeah, rock in a koi pond.
In a koi pond.
I mean, who would think to, look there? So yeah, a koi pond would be a good idea.
What would your Horcrux be, John?
I don't even I don't know. How about you, Kevin?
I totally see what you were saying, Ash, about wanting something that's indestructible and like or close to you that'd be hard to destroy.
Yeah.
For me, there has to be like a meaning behind it or like some sort of attachment to the item. For me, it would definitely be, or at least one of the Horcruxes, and it's the complete opposite of indestructible. There's a stuffed animal that my grandmother had given me when I was a really young kid, like 3 or 4. And I feel like if I had to put a portion of my soul into something that I hold dear and have a high value for, it would be that.
I can see that. That's cool for sure.
Except stuffed animal would totally be like the easiest Horcrux to destroy in the world. So
Yes. But only your closest people would know that, maybe that would be what it is.
and whoever's listened to this podcast.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, God, I should reread all the books. It's been too long.
Do it. Get the illustrated versions. That's so much more
Check.
exciting.
All the pretty pictures.
I like picture books.
It's just the art is breathtaking and it brings you into the magical world in a different way. It's not so much illustration that you feel hit over the head like you're reading a children's, board book, but it's a nice compliment in addition to it. So the pages feel magical.
You have to send me a picture of it.
Yeah, I will. And it's like thick paper. So it just feels really like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the
Like elegant.
high quality, elegant. Yeah, it's an experience.
Oh, that's awesome.
I really enjoy them. They've only released, as I can recall, 4 at this point.
That's really cool, though.
Do you guys have anything to add before we wrap up this amazing podcast? Because we could go on and on about Harry Potter, obviously.
Can I do a non-sponsored shout out to something? It's an off-Broadway musical called Puffs. And if you have not seen Puffs, you need to do yourself a favor and watch Puffs. Because of COVID, I believe that they've now released it on demand, like video on demand. But it is one of the funniest Harry Potter. I don't want to call it a spoof because it's not a spoof, but it's a musical that takes place during the same 7 years as when Harry was at Hogwarts, but from the point of view of a Hufflepuff, and it is amazing.
Oh gosh.
I've heard about that. I think they were actually here in Denver at one point.
Hell, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, it is hilarious. Even if you hate Harry Potter, like it is absolutely hilarious.
Told you he was a Hufflepuff.
I am not a Hufflepuff.
Fantastic Beasts.
I hold them to a different level because I connect them to Harry, but I see them as separate stories. Like I can't judge it as the same world.
The first movie was good.
I mean, it technically exists way before Harry Potter, so they are kind of a different world.
Yes. Yeah, no, the first one was good. The second one, I was left scratching my head. I don't know what they were doing with that one, but I did not enjoy it at all.
It's a bit darker.
I mean, if they expand on it in the third one, because I know they're going to do the third one, then hopefully. But yeah, the second one I didn't enjoy as much. It had its parts, but it wasn't my favorite.
What about you, Ash? Do you like it?
I actually really, really, really enjoyed the first one. I think that the cast of characters that they put together and created was just phenomenal. And you have your like completely unsung hero. Everybody expected like Newt Scamander to be like the star, kind of like the Harry Potter. But I actually thought that Jacob Kowalski was the star of that whole movie.
Yes.
That was the Muggle, right?
Yup. And he just delivered so well. And his love story with Queenie. Oh my gosh, he was an amazing addition to this cast. I mean, we're so used to all these magical characters being the stars of the show. And then he's this muggle that comes in and just steals the show. Kind of like our Arthur Weasley love for the humans. Like he came in and just delivered so well and they created such a lovable character. I was just completely swept away with this character. I love what they did with him in the first one. And then also what they did with Ezra Miller's Credence. What they did with Credence, that misdirection and red herring that they did with the little girl. I loved Credence and his pain. The film really showcased the trauma and the effects of abuse, especially how it could affect kids, because she was super abusive to those children, and yet they, like, especially him, he wanted a mother's love so much and he wanted approval that he was then preyed upon by Grindelwald. And that was so impactful. That is a strong storyline. That is why I think I love Fantastic Beasts so much, because Harry Potter, as much as I appreciate the stories and the symbolism they attached to it, the films and the book, like Fantastic Beasts brings something else to the table in terms of hard-hitting things that people don't like to talk about, and how like abuse can impact people, even someone as old as Credence. He's supposed to be like 17 or something in the film, and like the fact that he was so easily preyed upon for love, he just wanted love and acceptance. And so then Grindelwald got a hold of him, and then realizing that he wasn't even loved by Grindelwald, so like what he thought when he finally received love wasn't actually love, he was being used. Like then he becomes this monster and is literally annihilating the world around him and imploding. And it just, that scene of him breaking apart and them trying to help him keep it together literally broke my fucking heart. I just wanted to hug him. I was like, oh, Credence, I'll love you. I'll be your mama.
I need to watch Fantastic Beasts again. It's been so long.
Didn't catch all that, huh? Yeah, it's super powerful. Like that one got me. Yes, Newt Scamander was adorable and like, yay, all the beasts. But I really felt the storyline was about Credence and Jacob Kowalski. Like those two characters really had strong storylines, and especially Credence. That was so dark and so powerful. I'll be your mama, Credence.
Imagine a conversation between Jacob Kowalski and Arthur Weasley.
Oh, God.
That would be amazing. He could talk about his pastries.
Yup.
And Arthur Weasley could ask about how ovens work.
Yep. So,
what do you do? You actually mix the dough with your hands.
like, doesn't that hurt your arm? I don't know who we need to talk to about getting both of those actors together and doing like a short, but that needs to happen.
Even if they just sat there and just talked to each other as their characters, that would just be great.
Who do you think was the weakest character in Harry Potter? And not weak as in poorly developed, but weak as in did not carry their weight.
Mr. Sparkle Boy from the fourth one. Pre-Twilight, of course, but I don't think he did. I mean, I don't know.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
I think he had importance.
He just, I don't know. He didn't do it for me.
Wait, are we talking the actor or
Character.
Wow, that's tough. That is so tough.
Yeah, I was kind of just being a dick because I'm not a Pattinson fan, but I mean, they did build his character up more throughout the books, and we just got him immediately. Bam, there he is in, the fourth movie. But they talked about him throughout some of the other ones. They mentioned him, but yeah, in the fourth movie, they're just like, here he is. Okay, he's gonna die. Spoiler alert.
I'm going to be controversial.
Do it.
Harry Potter was the weakest fucking character in the whole series. He did absolutely nothing to contribute.
Right. Pure luck.
Other than be a figure, a literal figure for people to stand up for and support. Like they believed in him because of the scar on his head, but surprise, surprise, he didn't do that himself. That was his mother's love that saved him.
Yeah.
That was not him. He did not defeat Voldemort, but a lot of people treated him that way. It was his mother's love. The Goblet of Fire, all of his friends helped him get through those tasks.
Exactly.
He did not do that.
No.
It was through Sparkle Boys giving him the hints of how to open the egg.
Yes.
It was through Neville Longbottom's horticulture passion. How many times he got out of situations, but because of other people, not himself. And other people, though, provided strength and grew in their own, like Hermione. All of the time she saved his ass through her reading and through her own magic, helped her grow as a character. So through his weakness, I feel other characters were able to develop strength and courage and bravery because they wanted to support and help him and protect him. But in and of itself, he really didn't help others or himself. He was bumbling through. He even says it himself in one of the books. Like, why are you guys all following me? I don't even know what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, that's painfully obvious.
Right.
I wonder if that was J.K. Rowling's intention, like with the character Perry.
I don't know, because all of these people were willing to die for somebody who constantly put them at risk without any regard for them.
Yeah.
Like, constantly putting people in mortal danger without any regard because he has to know, where are his parents somewhere, I don't even know. Like, it just, his curiosity and his honestly, he lucked out of a lot of things. He lucked out.
Okay.
Even like in the Philosopher's Stone, the Sorcerer's Stone, he got through the plants because of Hermione. They got through the chess tournament because of Ron, and Ron was willing to sacrifice himself.
Mhm.
And it just like so on and so on. I mean, he was good at Quidditch, but even then he lucked out. He tripped off of his broom and caught a snitch in his mouth. Like, if that's not telling.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
No, I completely agree with you. He definitely was. And the more you sit there and think about it, and the more you actually like read the books and pay attention and watch the movies, yeah, he is not very good.
I mean, could you have imagined if Narcissa did say he was still alive in the woods when they were all there instead of doing him a solid?
We would have been done at that book. You know who else didn't pull weight?
Who?
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, come on.
Love that character to death.
But that's Harry. That's Harry in 40 years.
That is Harry in 40 years.
It is. Like, let's be honest. That is Harry in 40 years because he is like getting all the glory for other people. Like, think about it. Everyone's cheering Harry on at the end of the first one. Like, yay, you saved us all. You got the Sorcerer's Stone. Woo-hoo-hoo. And it's like, no, pretty sure Hermione, Ron, and Neville handled that one.
Right.
And Lucius Hagrid. And realistically, he lucked out of that.
Yeah.
He did not defeat anybody. He lucked out because his mom's love was still ingrained on him, and he couldn't stand the like touch of Harry's skin, so he melted away. Blah, oh no, into dust. And it's like, but that wasn't Harry. That was once again his mom's love. Harry, you are the weakest link.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I agree with you 100%.
Like his owl, I was so angry because he treated his owl like shit. But she died for him when they were all racing around trying to misdirect Voldemort. And surprise, surprise, someone else got in the way and died for him. And he was able to
Right.
make his little millisecond escape. And it's like, did you even cry, man? Like, did you shed a single half tear?
I think Kevin just did. You're going to make him cry. You keep mentioning all
But
these
that's
things
what
that
I'm
people
saying. Harry's a selfish bastard.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, oh, poor me, poor me.
He's just like taking everybody down and risking everybody. And he's always like, no, you don't need to do that for me. But then he lets them go right along and do it.
But go ahead and do it anyway. Because,
Oh my gosh, Voldemort, you suck. I can't believe you killed that person. It's like, but your ass was in the prophecies when you weren't supposed to be with 4 other children, risking them, knowing that like the Death Eaters are after you to like, Bellatrix's crazy ass is trying to find you. And you're like, okay, Jenny, my 10-year-old friend, come on with me. Let's go. And we're not going to tell any adults. Everything's great.
And that's kind of creepy.
And then he's pissed when Bellatrix kills his uncle. Oh no, how could you? And I'm like, how could you, Harry?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right when she puts it that way.
Because he thinks he's invisible. But why does he think he's invisible? Because everybody else gets him through these. So he's like, well, we'll figure it out. It's like, no, they're going to figure it out. And you're probably going to get a 10-year-old killed in the process. Way to go. Good job, Harry. But he's the hero, right? I actually think he's kind of a villain. He and Voldemort, there's a reason they're tied together.
I think Ashley needs to rewrite or do a fan film, and we're done at 1. Like, done.
Goodbye, Harry.
Harry dies. The end.
Rereading the illustrated ones, yes, there are so many characters that are amazing, but when it comes to actual Harry Potter, I really detest Harry Potter because he put a lot of people's lives at risk and then try to bumble with, I don't want you to risk yourself for me.
I mean, what happens if they're like, all right, okay, we won't. Done.
Right? Imagine had they said, okay, cool, have a good day. Bye, Harry.
But what about Voldemort?
Right? Like, he's your problem, not our problem. Like, fuck you.
And people knew that they were doing the right thing to go up against Voldemort, but Harry was almost treated like he's this like martyr.
He was treated like a deity, but he wasn't.
And that's the truth about Harry Potter.
And this is how Ashley loses any fans she might get.
Or gains new ones. Who knows?
I mean, I have you guys thinking about it a little.
I mean, I'm flipped. I'm back.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Like, we can talk about how obvious Draco Malfoy had hate and was being a bully. But let's talk about how careless Harry was with his friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Nah.
Completely.
And Dobby. Dobby died for him.
Dobby.
Mhm.
And he got kicked.
Dobby is Harry's friend. Dobby is free.
See, Kevin's gonna cry.
Ash, I'm gonna need you to stop bringing up like all of the deaths in the whole series because like I forgot about so many of them, and I'm like, oh god, Hedwig died too. What
Yeah,
the
I know.
hell?
I had forgotten about that too, but that didn't hit me as hard as Dobby.
I'll leave off with I love Luna Lovegood.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely
Yes.
love her.
Little lovely Luna, magical freak of my heart.
The hippie of the magical world.
Love her. We'll always love her. That's who should have ended up with Harry.
Yes, I actually thought so for sure.
I 100% agree.
That's who I think would have been a perfect counterpart for Harry.
I absolutely agree.
But can you imagine a Harry Potter musical?
I mean, Puffs.
Fuck your puffs.
Oh my god, please don't. Do not. Favorite spell.
Oh.
Anything that can bring me some food. I don't care. I'm a fat kid. Magically bring me some food. I'm good.
Mine is Cruciatus.
Oh.
Oh,
Wait, which one was that?
That's the torture spell.
Oh,
that makes a lot of sense for Ashley.
That's the one that took Neville Longbottom's parents into the sanitarium. I can't even say it without laughing.
That's
I love that spell. Cruciatus. That sounds like fun, right?
sounds like fun.
Just another Saturday night. Why not?
I mean,
Actually, that could be your secret word to like a partner. If you're out and about, right?
oh, yes.
Like just do a little wand wave with your finger and Cruciatus. You're welcome.
I could just imagine though, if the person doesn't know anything about Harry Potter, what the fuck their face is gonna look like. Oh my god.
If your partner doesn't know about Harry Potter, you've got problems.
If my partner does not know about Harry Potter, they're not my partner. I'm sorry.
Or it's education time, and if you don't want to be about it, like I'm not sure we can be about this.
Yeah.
Right. Teach first before you get rid of. Teach.
Yes, I will make an effort to educate the world of Harry Potter and Star Wars.
All right, everybody. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for tuning in to 3Haunted Podcasts with your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm John Thomas.
And I'm Kevin K. Daddy.
Have any questions, comments, or suggestions? Email us at 3hauntedpodcasts@gmail.com. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our social media. Hit that follow button. Snape, Snape, Severus Snape.
Dumbledore!